In section 5.4.42, the data on the right represents the number of traffic fatalities by seat location and gender. We want to determine the probability of being a female and the probability of being a female provided a passenger has already been selected. So are the events female and passenger independent? So again, we're going to use this table here. Okay, now remember that in order for them to be independent, okay, what that means is that those two probabilities must be equal to each other. So to determine the number of female fatalities, there were 18,168 female fatalities. So if we look at our chart here, we can see that here is the total of female fatalities. So that is our numerator. Okay, and then we have to determine the total number of fatalities. And the total number of fatalities is 60,292. So now when we solve or find that result, the probability of female fatalities is 0.301. Okay, now we want to be able to determine the probability that a female is selected, provided that a passenger has already been selected. So in this scenario, we need to find that the probability that the number of victims who were both female and a passenger. So that means that we want to find out the results of when they were both female and passenger. So let's take a look at our table here, okay, where there are both female and a passenger. So here we have passenger, and then we have the column that represents female. And if you notice that this number is 11,770. So therefore, there were 11,770 victims that were both female and a passenger. Okay? And then we have to determine the number of victims who were a passenger. So if we take a look at the total number of victims that were a passenger is the total in that row, and therefore the total that's in that row is 47,411. And so you can see here that that represents that particular number. So we take that numerator and divide it by the denominator to get the result of 0.248. So now what we're going to do is we're going to compare 0.248 with the probability that was selected a female was 0.301. And the question is asking whether these are independent or dependent. Now remember, they are independent if they are equal to each other. So because these probabilities are not equal to each other, then they are considered dependent.